guys, Novex here, bringing you my first YouTube video. In this video I will discuss 5 ways that Battlefield 1 may fail. Now before you grab your pitchforks and light your torches, hear me out. You may agree with me. Without further ado, let's jump straight into number 5. For number 5, I chose this setting. The setting of Battlefield 1 is set during the First World War. Now while this may sound appealing to some, many fans may be heavily disappointed because it is not a modern day or futuristic shooter. On that note, there are so many modern and futuristic shooters on the market today that younger audiences may leave and go to something more appealing like Call of Duty. While the Battlefield series is made for more mature audiences, there is still a large number of younger gamers who enjoy this series. For number 4, I chose the limitations on firearms. While Battlefield 4 had over 100 weapons in the base game and tons more added through DLC and free weapon updates, there were almost too many guns to choose from. There were over 15 different weapon attachments, and not to mention the hundreds of weapon skins and dog tags for you to customize your soldier with. World War I didn't have this kind of liberty. You couldn't attach a suppressor with a laser sight to your Springfield because the suppressors weren't in active military use until World War II, and they were mainly used by special agents. World War I did see machine guns, submachine guns, and sniper rifles, but they weren't the kind you'd see nowadays. Sniper rifles were often standard issue bolt-action rifles with a scope attached, and machine guns were mounted on wagons or stationed in a choke point, as the early models were too heavy to carry. Submachine guns were also being developed during World War I, the most common and practical ones being the MP-18 and the Shattuck 1918 submachine guns. Some attachments we may see could include a bayonet, a bipod of some sort, and maybe an improvised scope. Point being, the weapon variety and attachments may be scarce and might not be found attractive by Battlefield's current audience. For number 3, I chose the pace. World War I is widely known for the brutal trench warfare and many stalemates throughout each battle. While there were some conflicts in small towns, the majority of it was fought within the trenches. We'll just have to wait and see what DICE does with this, but since this is a Battlefield game, the slower pace may be different and could deter previous Battlefield owners from buying this. For number 2, I chose the replayability. This is a hard one to pick apart as we have almost no information on what game modes we will be getting or how long the campaign will be, but referencing previous Battlefields, the campaign will probably be around 5 to 6 hours total. Battlefront, a recent EA title, had some other modes outside of the typical multiplayer and campaign. Battlefront didn't even have a campaign mode, which was one of its biggest flaws. It had a game mode called Survival Mode. This mode is pretty self-explanatory, but it fell short. The waves weren't infinite and the replayability was almost none. If DICE decided to add an alternate game mode like Trench Defense and not screw it up like they did with the Battlefront mode, I could see many hours being sunk into seeing how many waves you and your buddies could get to. For my first and final reason, I chose that Battlefield 1 is just being overhyped. Now this is the final and biggest point in my opinion, with Battlefield 1's rival Infinite Warfare amassing over 2.5 million dislikes. People are flocking to the Battlefield 1 hype train. This is awful, as people are going to expect Battlefield 1 to blow Advanced Warfare out of the water. But what if it doesn't? What if developers are too rushed like they were with Battlefield 4 and release a crappy, buggy, and unfinished game? This would kill a majority of the fan base. Battlefield 4's launch week sold over 7 million copies, but due to all the bugs and crashes, only a month later only 2% of the population was still playing. Now this changed significantly as they did a really good job at fixing the game, but it took a long time, and if this happens again, the hype train loaded with neckbeards and fedora-wielding autists could heavily alter the game's population. This concludes my top 5 reasons Battlefield 1 may fail. Do you agree with anything I said, or you completely disagree? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to see more content similar to this. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you all in my next video.